Ciao a tutti, oggi vi presento gli highlights della gara del campionato Kamel GT, corsa al Nürburgring sabato, trasmessa in diretta sul canale GSRC e valida per il campionato VCR. Spero che vi piaccia, buon divertimento e di nuovo ciao a tutti!
There you see a little bit about the Nürburgring, but as we said, there is so much to go over. Adam, this might be the toughest race of the season.
Absolutely. The Nürburgring combined circuit is a 15.77 mile or 25.38 kilometer affair featuring 170 turns, just as Joe mentioned in the track description. And it's by far the most challenging and most technical circuit on iRacing today. The Audi GTO will feel the most at home here due to its rally heritage with its four-wheel drive, allowing the car to absorb the bumps and hug the apexes all across this beast of a circuit, while still fearing the dreaded Audi push through the medium to high-speed corners. The Nissan is a terrifying car to drive on the Nordschleife with its sensitive wing-like body and undertray and touchy turbo. The myriad of bumps that litter the circuit will keep the GTP drivers on their toes, and both classes will be seeking to avoid the perilously high curbs this track has in fear of bouncing them into the cars and into the grass and arm code that are very near to the track. Multi-class here is all about cooperation and survival, and if it's the two classes even see each other at all today, Joe, make it to the end of this 8-lap race, and you've probably got a top 10 no matter the field size. The best places to pass are on the GT circuit and the Dottinger Hoa, but considering that only accounts for 4 miles of this track, these drivers are going to have to be very careful around each other today.
Yeah, patience might be the key.
Absolutely agree. GTP field and the GTO field is rounded up with Jukka Leskala currently on pole. Escaleta-Niemi, a great qualifying for him, puts him in second place. Ian Haycock starting off in third on row 2 next to Franco Scurry. Marty Olay is going to start off in fifth with Marty Ollie starting off in fifth with Mark Olay in sixth. Then we got Tomas Bartfai going to start off in seventh with Jamie Hamill-Smith in eighth. Louis Hamilton is going to start off ninth with Mika Tupola in 10th. And we got the next slide starting off with row 6 is going to be Devin Donaghy with Andre Schuster starting off in the 12th position. Marius Brewer is going to start off in 13th with Javier Del Olmo in 14th. And we got Cristobal Lopez Castro in 15th with Kai Stumpf in 16th position. Heiko Kruger is going to start off 17th with Carlo Fonseca in 18th, Peter Newhook 19th, and Nicholas Rage rounding out your top 20. And there's going to be a couple more rounding out row 11. That's David Queen and Silver Pilmets.
Pretty full field, and it's actually top split today. The Nürburgring has brought people out of the woodwork for the Camel Series. We've got one on board for today, I believe. Isaac Snyder joining us once again, giving us his perspective starting.
Jukka Leskala got a big jump right underneath the bridge at the Dottinger Hoa. Now entering turn 1, he's got a nice lead over Escaleta-Niemi, who's only about 6/10 back. Then it starts to pack up a little bit with Franco Scurry and Ian Haycock, Marty Ollie, and Mark Olay lining up as well. The GTO is pretty clean, though, through the first couple of corners, Joe.
Not seeing any issues so far amongst any of the drivers in either class, so that's a good sign. POs that you'll want to watch being led by Leskala right now, and they're coming up towards that same section here soon. These things definitely get a little bit of a hop, and I can't imagine how scary it is.
It's quite scary, but at the same time, you got four-wheel drive to settle it out once you land. So here we come onto this long straightaway, and here comes the jump. We're going to see Yuko take it first. There he goes, 4 wheels off the ground. And then you can see the rest of the drivers taking the air as they go through. We got a nice battle for 10th position, though, with Andre Schuster, Devin Donaghy, Javier Del Olmo, Cristobal Lopez Castro, and Mika Tupola as they all go over the jump.
Ooh, thankfully, they get mostly sorted out single file. Del Olmo and Castro have been side by side, and they're going to go side by side once again. This is what I was talking about. There's just no space on the Nordschleife, almost shoved off the course. Del Olmo keeps it from wrecking. They almost got bunched up behind Schuster as they finally hit the Swedish cross now and braking for Ehrenberg. Possibly a passing zone for some cars. Lopez Castro finally gets himself into 11th.
Fantastic driving there from that pack of Audis. Very tight, very clean, very fair from everybody. Great job to stay on track during that entire exchange. But looks like they're all getting held up a little bit behind Devin Donaghy right now. That's Andre Schuster and Cristobal Lopez Castro, as well as Javier Del Olmo. They're all tucked in behind him. They need to get by, and they need to find a way by quick.
Yeah, Donaghy plugging them up in about 9th place there in that black number 30 that you see. So coming down towards Metzgefeld. There's a great run for Schuster in the orange and blue. Wonder if he could maybe do something down into this portion of the circuit. You get a heavy braking zone here, but he's not close enough behind him. A little bit of a peak from Del Olmo, still trying to get the spot back from Lopez Castro. And boy, they are racing very hard, and we got a spin behind them. That is Brewer, Marius Brewer. Thankfully, nobody hitting him, and he's got a little bit of a gap to try and get going, but more cars coming in. Now he's able to cruise. Wow, great heads up by everybody. That could have been a serious blockage on this first lap. Getting the best draft amongst some of the least aerodynamic cars on the surface.
Absolutely. That's looking at Franco Scurry, who's a second and a half ahead of Marty Olay, who's got Marty Ollie, who's got Ian Haycox and Mark Olay tucked in behind him. I don't think that Mark Olay is close enough, but Ian Haycox might have an opportunity at the back end of the Dottinger Hoa to try and make a lunge on Marty Ollie, but it's going to be a risky move if he decides to do so. Mark Olay benefiting from the double draft. I think he's just a little bit too far back. Here we go under the bridge. Kind of the last opportunity to make a pass here. So here we go, tucking under the bridge. I think that Marty's just gonna, Ian Haycox is just gonna hang on to that position.
Yep, no change between them, but Lewis Emerton went by Tomas Bartfai, and that was for 7th position just behind them. So he used the slipstream to good effect himself. Hearing one car into pit lane, looks like Kopke eventually limped his way back around and is finally able to take repairs.
So after the first lap, Eucalipto's got a 6-second lead over Escaleta-Niemi right now as we continue to watch this battle between Marty Ollie, Ian Haycox, and Mark Olay as they continue to battle through that quick switchback, and just such challenging stuff for these drivers to be able to tackle that, especially after having such cold brakes from the Dottinger Hoa.
Absolutely, and Mark Olay is getting ever closer to the back of Ian Haycox. Let's see if he tries anything here during the GP circuit. Or is he going to sit behind, wait for a slipstream along with the long straights during the Nordschleife? And the other thing that I feel like is a big concern is these cars are notorious for having a finicky gearbox. Being so close behind somebody in the Nordschleife and somebody misses a gear, that could have bad news written all over it.
Got an awesome battle going on for P7 of the GTOs between Lewis Emerton and Tomas Bartfai. Bartfai, unfortunately, has a little bit of a misshift on the exit, but they were side by side all the way from the exit of the stadium all the way through that corner that we just saw. So very close battling between these two. I want to keep my eyes on them over the course of this race because I think they're pretty evenly matched.
They certainly seem to be, and Bartfai wants that position back.
Sorry, Joe. Isaac Snyder's putting a pressure on our
GTOs. Franco Scurry is barely holding off Ollie and Haycox at the moment, and they're heading towards the Dottinger Hoa past Gallows Hill. So this is going to open up chances for drivers to swap positions around if they want it.
Yeah, Ollie is going to have a great opportunity here, a great run. He's going to make the pass, but is it a little bit too early? Because Franco could just tuck in behind him if he wants to. But Franco's actually not going to do that. He's going to stay to the inside and try and do a little bit of side drafting of Marty Ollie. Does work a little bit, but they're going to be side by side. Here comes, tucked in behind them, Ian Haycox, who's getting a double draft from these two guys. And right behind them is Mark Olay, who fall off the back of them by about half a second. He's now being able to gain. What's Ian Haycox going to do? Who's he going to choose?
Oof, this is a toss-up. Marty Ollie now getting back in behind Franco Scurry, and Ian Haycox doesn't go with either of them as they now have to get on the brakes and slow up once again. Somehow Scurry retains that third place. Can also report we have a meatball flag for Devin Donaghy. Forced repairs as it has too much damage according to the stewards. He hit the wall a little bit earlier.
I just want to report that Isaac Snyder made the pass on Ardo Iamaki.
Okay, last lap through was a 7:13.2 for Snyder, 7:10.1 for Hovdal, just to give you an idea. And I don't think, was Snyder actually back? He is not taking no for an answer. And looks like as we come back to the battle for third place, Franco Scurry, who is just coming up to the end of Style-Strecke and towards the carousel, is still dealing with the pressure from Marty Ollie, who has been hounding him all race long. And despite having the slipstream on these long straights, maybe he doesn't want to be ahead. Either way, he just hasn't been able to get ahead and stay ahead.
Well, if Franco can hold on to this podium, it's been a while since we talked to Franco Scurry in the broadcast booth, but I'm sure he'd be ecstatic with this result. But he's going to keep trying to fight here with Martiali and Ian Haycox. Ian Haycox also struggling a little bit to get power down off the corners. It looks like he's a little bit tight through the center of the slow speed corners, which is making it really hard for him to get the good exits he would need to challenge the two ahead of him.
Franco is one of those drivers you hear about in racing when they talk about a popular man in the paddock.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems strange in such a highly competitive environment, but sometimes you just can't help but be endeared. Everybody who comes into a race here in a Kamel GT at some point gives the cry, "Ciao a tutti," which was coined by this man, Franco Scurry, the Italian, has garnered a lot of fans amongst his rivals.
It reminds me of a certain guy who was thanking everybody as he was making passes in the Daytona 24-hour that I raced last year. But Franco Scurry doing a great job holding off Martiali right now. Ian Haycox looking on. Such a good battle between these GTOs. I think Marty's got some decent pace on Franco, but Franco doing everything he needs to do to hang on to that position. Oh man, his car looks very tight though.
Into the bell-off S's. Boy, you can see just how much the car crests and bobbles as it weaves back and forth through here. As we hop on board with Martiali now, chasing him up to the mini carousel. Ooh, a little bit of a bobble off the corner there from Franco Scurry. Thankfully, didn't hurt him too badly. Used that four-wheel drive to good effect.
Yeah, Franco's starting to blanch under the pressure a little bit, but it's not going to matter because here they go on to the Dottinger Hoa for one more time, and look at this. Martiali is falling back a little bit. I think he's trying to get Ian Haycox involved in this too. Franco's going to go over to the right side this time. Let's see whether he drifts back over to the left as they go down the straightaway, because I think that he's going to want to be on the left. Yes, he is, when Martiali tries to make this pass.
I wonder if he was backing himself up just a little bit to see if he can use the momentum better. And yeah, he gets a nice little run. He's not quite fully ahead. He can't chop across yet. It seems like as soon as he gets out into that air and tries to push it, the car suddenly stalls out next to him. Franco Scurry trying to fight it, and finally he has to give up the ghost.
Absolutely, that was a great move there. Just a very decisive and commanding move from Martiali to put that pass on Franco, but Franco can get a good exit here. He might try something late into turn one of the GP circuit. So here we go onto the straightaway. Look at this. That's a defensive move there from Martiali. Franco's going to go on the outside. Is he going to be able to get it done?
He's looking for it as they break deep into the corner. Coming through the Yokohama S, he tries to cut back underneath him with the over-under. Martiali manages to get back ahead, but the job is not done. Franco still vying hard for this podium, and in fact, he sends it in deep into Valvoline. Is it too deep as he goes way wide, but he somehow holds on to it. Now into Ford. The battle carries on, and accelerating off the corner, the wider line helps Ollie finally get into third.
What a battle that was between these two guys. Such good fighting there. Martiali took one of the most aggressive over-unders I've seen, and Franco Scurry off the apex, giving an opportunity to Ian Haycox. He can't do anything with it, though. Oh, Xavier Sanchez and Fabian Jungleuth are side by side now.
Bend it. He was in that close fight still with Martiali, and he has suddenly hit the wall hard.
And it was over the jump, too. Yeah, the car just got upset over the jump, Joe.
Not too surprising. Without the wheels on the ground, sometimes it can be hard to find grip. And you can see he just clouded into that tire barrier with a huge amount of force. Mark Olay also going to be able to go by. Yeah, looks like maybe a bad landing. It was already squirreling around as soon as he hit the ground.
Yeah, just unfortunate for him. And so he's out, and he's going to add to a couple of drivers who are out. Carlos Fonseca, Frankie D, and Kai Stumpf are out of this race.
Again, that was Isaac Snyder having to take extensive repairs. Speaking of repairs, Sanchez, I don't know if it was damage to the car or he was unhappy with how it was handling or what, but he has stepped out of it and is done for the day. He's another one of our DNFs. Surprisingly few early in this race, but a good surprise as we now watch Ian Haycox try to chase Olay for fifth.
Yeah, Top Split's putting on a great show today here at the Nordschleife, and you can see Ian Haycock's putting some pressure on Mark Olay. Just as we were coming off of that interview with Isaac Snyder, Mark Olay on the downhill jump on the back end of the course absolutely got that thing loose and squirreled it all the way into the YouTube corner. So Ian Haycock's now putting some pressure on Mark. He's going to have an opportunity to pass him about halfway down the Dottinger Hoa. Actually, Mark Olay might have a little bit of a draft from Franco Scurry, so this might be... And Ian Haycock has that damage, so it's going to be a little bit tenuous to see whether or not Ian can get this done. It might be under the bridge.
He's got about 3 miles an hour more speed right now, 4 miles an hour more speed as they continue to pick up pace. But what about now that he is out of the slipstream? Damage on both of them. Well, oh my goodness, he just comes to a complete halt. He was gaining on him and then just stopped. So that is good news for Mark Olay, as he is going to at least retain that 5th position. But when will we see these guys into pit lane? So far, both going to stay out this time by.
It's possible that the Audis can make it on one tank. It's going to be sketched, but it's possible. Oh, we've had a wreck on the straightaway on the Dottinger Hoa. Cristobal Lopez Castro has gone around. I think this is underneath the bridge with contact with another car.
I think they tried to go 3 wide or something here.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely worth a replay.
It was 2 wide. It was with Kruger. And unfortunately, it looks like he got caught by the claws as Castro just tried to sneak in. And there's a car there. And both of them find themselves off course.
But Kruger manages to save it. That was really scary for him. He was trying to back off and make sure he didn't get into the side of Brewer.
Fabian Jungbluth is on his lid. Right now, the number 7 is upside down. He made a mistake, and Joseph Mudrack didn't have much space to avoid the wreck.
3.5 to 4 seconds in order to Mark Olay. So unfortunately for him, he's going to have to back off. This is Benjamin Kopke who's making his way around. And Lars Olsen just wrecked.
He has not.
Got that nice battle for 9th position shaping up in the GTOs. This is Marius Brewer, who had that scary moment that we saw earlier on, and Lewis Emerton, who's fighting with him just up ahead. These two guys, I think Marius is a little bit out of position right now, so Emerton holding him up a tiny bit, and he goes a little bit wide here. Is Brewer going to take this opportunity? He's going to give it a shot. He's going to try and go side by side, and Emerton's going to give it up.
Yeah, I think there reaches a certain point where you kind of have to show the white flag for that position and allow the driver through. Oh, boy, they are pushing these things. Coming up and over the crest out of Flansgarden and into the Beloff S's here. This is for the 9th position, and yet they're still almost a full minute behind our leader in that GT class, Yuko Leskala, who's already on his way up the Dottinger Hoa, which these guys have yet to hit the mini carousel.
And Ove Trangrade's hit the pit lane, so fortunately for him, he's in the pits getting his fuel and possibly tires. I think he did get tires, yes.
Wait,
so.
I'm seeing him scored his 18th, though. Did he hit something? He did.
He did.
Oh, no. Ove Trangrade with an accident coming into, I think, Oudenauer Forest. Drivers. But Leskala stays out. Franco Scurry is in. Mark Olay is also, and taking tires. So trying to get a little bit more grip out there for the end. And in most cases, tires for 3 laps of racing would seem silly, but for these guys, it is of the utmost importance.
Looks like tires is not going to cost Franco anything there. So that's a good lesson for everybody who's coming in right now. If they don't have tires checked, they should check them, because it doesn't look like it costs them any time.
Indeed, and the point I was making before about those direct drive
Competitor off into the wall. That's going to be very dangerous. So let's see how they navigate this. Antilopisto trying to go around the outside, is able to hang on to that position. Ardo Iamaki with a good run on the outside as well. They're going to be able to get past both of them before the braking zone.
Wheels in the grass at nearly 160 miles an hour, and there's a car wrecking in front of them. That's Schuster, who thankfully does not bounce back onto the track. Lapisto still in second place, but Iamaki is making a race of things. And it looks like this might be the last lap that most of the drivers are able to go. So it was very close to be able to go to the end for the GTOs.
Yeah, and I don't think Leskela's going to get passed by Hovdal. So he's going to have to do the full 2 laps. So that'll be very interesting for him.
I don't know about that. Leskela is actually coming up to Tiergarten right now. Next up on their overtaking list is going to be Ian Haycox, who is in a fight with Franco Scurry. And there is Franco being chased by Ian. Ian in the green and orange number 15. Down towards the Dunlop hairpin. And Antti Lepisto is going to be able to maybe break things up a little bit. Yes, he can. Ian Haycox has to chop down and take the apex. That holds up Arto Iamaki, managing to put some more distance between the two Finns. Now as we come out of the Schumacher S, looks like things did not go well for Iamaki. Once again had to wait for Franco Scurry. In fact, that held up Franco, who could lose this 4th place to Ian Haycox now. And there you can see they're going to have to deal with Christian Veal coming by. At least he'll get a nice little break on the way up to the NDK chicane. Ooh, defensive move from the 13 of Scurry on Ian Haycox that time. Not wanting to give him any opportunity on the Grand Prix course, knowing that this could easily change fans there, and he could see it run off into the distance here on the Nordschleife, where it's so hard to pass. Let's see how far along the lap. Looks like almost halfway through the lap already for Matthias Hovdal, running 7:09, 7:10s for much of the race, but he has lost a little bit of pace. Last 2 laps, or 2 of the last 3 laps at 7:13. Some of that could have been traffic, of course, for Hovdal, which he's dealing with right now. And that is our 2 leaders. That is Leskela being lapped by Matthias Hovdal. So they will do 1 last lap, the entire field of GTOs compared to the GTPs behind them, not allowing him to really get as close as he needs. And Ian Haycox is off for some reason.
This was contact with Martin Krejcik, who did not make a safe pass on him.
Oh, no. Well, our GTOs do have their leader coming to the line as well. Jukka Leskela with another victory. His 3rd of the season. The number 2 extends his points lead.
I can also report that Javier Mascara had a little bit of a run-in with one of the GTOs as well. This was Mark Ole, unfortunately just pushing him a little bit wide. He did not finish the race. And Tomas Bartfy just had a problem. He's now crabbing on the track. He's giving up positions as well to Ian Haycox and Lewis Emerton.
I was just about to say, 2 cars that are trying to limp it home. Ian Haycox with the busted engine and a busted wheel here for Bartfy, but you might as well try and get it to the line from this stage.
Oh, Mark Ole's about to lose the position to Marius Brummer for 6th position. This is on the Dardinger Hoa. They're about to go to the bridge side by side.
That's Mark Ole and the red and white, the black and red with Marius Brewer. Neither willing to give way. Who is the bravest on the brakes? Just a bit of a nose ahead for Mark, and he is in there first. The 36 manages to lock down 6th place as long as he's clean off of these set of S's, and he is good. So Mark Ole takes the win here finishes 6th here at the Nürburgring. Got ahead of myself. And poor Ian Haycox is just hitting the Dardinger Hoa and is unfortunately being breezed past by a whole bunch of cars, including that's Bartfy, who we mentioned is dealing with a crabbing car. It's still faster than him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see these 2 crabbers trying to come across the line. Bartfy can't get the car in gear. Is he going to lose his position to the stricken Ian Haycox? The answer is yes. Ian Haycox is going to come home in 11th.
I think he couldn't turn left. I think the car just unfortunately had that final left-hand turn and it just would not go. Oh boy, what a race. That is going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as